And welcome to another first of FGCU Athletics, albeit on a very small scale. It is the State of the Eagles. David Moulton along with Athletic Director Ken Kavanagh. There seems to be a school of firsts. I have a feeling this will be at the very bottom of first. But about a monthly or six every 8 weeks, we'll just update you on life and the pursuit of happiness here with the FGCU Athletics Department. And once again, you guys are off to a great start. In the fall, it seems as if every sport is excelling at darn near the highest level it ever has.
Well, it really is great, and that's pretty much been the tempo of the recent years, where the fall teams have gotten off to a great start, have had championship-type caliber seasons, gotten to the postseason, and then the other teams keep it going. So it's a nice benchmark to work through. Right now, both the men's and women's soccer teams shooting for their 7th championship in a row. The men ranked 12th in the country, which not only is their highest ever, it's the highest we've ever had a team ranked in FGCU Athletics history. So we're really excited. There's a lot of individual results that are occurring that are setting records and paces, which you can maybe mention quicker than I could in terms of your memory. But volleyball is having, I believe, their best start ever at 17-3. Had a great tough weekend up at Kennesaw. We lost the first match there and then turned around and beat Lipscomb, who's pretty much been the benchmark in recent years.
And a nice show of really athletic camaraderie, in which I believe it was the women's soccer program that hung around, was in the area and made sure to stay over to support the volleyball team. And they were coming off a tough setback at Kennesaw, and they were facing the team to really contend with in the conference, Lipscomb. Volleyball team stayed over, kind of almost felt like an FGCU home match, led them to the big win.
It was actually the other way around. It was volleyball was the winners, and Kennesaw was the game that the soccer team was there. Because the soccer has a day in between, because they play Friday and then they go Sunday.
And I'm really paying attention to these press releases too. I apologize. But it does show the camaraderie. It's not just different teams in different parts of the building.
And that's really the fun part about it. We have what we call green and blue nights that the student athletes have put upon themselves to work on when they can within their academic studies and overall family responsibilities to go to each other's games. And they'll pick certain games where, this is our green-blue game and we need everybody to come out. That's at home, and they'll do the same. So to take it on the road makes it even more fun. And it's a great opportunity for me as the athletic director to hear how excited the student athletes were, tweeting out afterwards, the volleyball players thanking the women's soccer team. And unfortunately, they went home and they weren't able to stay and do the same.
Now, it just so happens to be that both soccer programs and the volleyball program, they all play an exciting brand of their sport. You can win with defense. You can also win by attacking and with offense. Is that something that if you have your druthers when you're hiring, that if you have a chance to basically go forward or go backward as a sport, you would rather win by going forward, because it seems as if it's more appealing to the fans? I mean, you're now drawing 1,000 plus fairly regularly for your soccer matches. It's because your soccer team score.
Oh, there's no doubt. I think, we as Americans certainly look at higher scoring as something that's more entertaining. Those who watch soccer can really appreciate the value of a 1-0 game or baseball. You and I are baseball fans, and a great 1-0 game, but, the average person wants to see 9-8 in baseball and home runs going left and right, and for soccer, 6-5 game like we had up at Rutgers. So, again, basketball, same way, the up-tempo. When we had the Sweet 16 team, or certainly all the points that were scored with Carl's team, then if Carl was to ever leave, it's going to be hard pressed to begin with, but then to maintain that style is what our fans are going to expect. When Andy left, Joe came in and was able to maintain that excitement and up-tempo play, which I think average person wants. Now, you'd much rather win 50-49 than lose 99-98, but I think everybody gets that general assumption.
And also, as athletic director, obviously you pay attention to all 15 sports, and men's cross-country team are reaching new heights.
Yeah, Cassandra just does a wonderful job, given the fact that she already has the disadvantage that we don't have a track, and there's a lot of great distance runners who want to do track and field, indoor and outdoor. That's a difficult situation to work with. Then you're down in Southwest Florida, a distance away from a number of recruits, and she just continues to do a wonderful job. We've been regionally ranked previously with our women's cross-country team. Both teams finished 3rd in conference last year, and now the men are at an all-time high 13th in the South region. So, she's competing against SEC schools, ACC schools, and we have some good teams in the conference.
Looking forward, all right, you guys, is this room going to be here
in
a few weeks?
Yes, it will.
What is going to be left standing when the renovations start? You know, some of us have been coming here for 10, 12, 15 years. We just now know our way around.
Yeah, it really, fortunately, most of it's going to be addition, and the trees will be gone, and the flagpoles out front will be moved. But I never really liked, those trees were kind of average, and it wasn't really grass underneath. I think all it did was collect stuff that blew in the wind. But we're really looking forward to downstairs enhancing twice the size of our sports medicine area. So we'll have plunge tanks, hot and cold areas for our student athletes, and just a greater area to deal with our athletes as, first of all, in case they get hurt, but also trying to stay active on the front end. Maybe it's massages or things of that nature. The other element, we're going to bring over our academic center from the outdoor sports complex and put that front and center out in the building and show where academics is in terms of our priorities. And then above it, we'll finally have large offices for men's and women's basketball, a large film area where the teams, roughly up to 28 people, can be seated. So when they move down the hall, we'll then have a more space for other people. But the enhancements of the new stuff is the first piece, and then we do have a phase two as we continue our fundraising.
Why is it that you need to expand? I think a lot of fans, when they show up, they see nice facilities. They're wondering, well, what is it they're talking about with the Alico expansion? Why?
Well, what we see and appreciate on a daily basis is still not to the level in some circumstances for what our recruits see. And that's what it comes down to. Certainly the functional pieces need to be there, the weight room, training room, academic area, but there's areas that at times are, for the modern generation, they expect to see certain things. And if you don't...
Bells and whistles?
Yeah, and in a recruiting trip, you know, it's been difficult when our coaches don't want to show the weight room, they don't want to show their offices, and they avoid it whenever they can. So the element of being able to showcase it is important. When you have families in, you'd like to have them easily step into your office as a head coach and sit there comfortably. We haven't had that. We've had to open a door, move a chair in, you know, it's just not the way you want it. But it was built to be a Division II quality facility, perhaps the best in the country, and next thing you know, we were Division I. So for us, it's been something we've slowly worked at. Last year, the video board was a big deal. Maybe for some schools that's not, but for us it was. Other elements that we've had in recent years, baseball with the enhancements that we've made there, both in regards to suites that we've now done for softball as well, just a press box for softball, for soccer. For many years, you know, here we have lightning come down. We have to shut the PA system off just because we don't want anybody to get electrocuted. Not to mention,
I'm well aware of that.
Yeah, not to mention the elements related to mosquitoes and, you know, other pieces with the heat and humidity. So, you know, general pieces that other schools have had, we're now just trying to get to. And the other pieces, besides the functional one, is certainly recruiting.
Well, I think fans have been able to see at the baseball stadium, the softball complex, and at the soccer complex, they've been able to see some of the touches, whether or not they get to experience it or not. Our fans who come to Alico Arena, whether it be for volleyball or for the two basketball teams, are they going to be able to see some of the changes, or is that in phase two?
I think they'll be able to easily see the ones in phase one because it's going to build out again. It's going to be hopefully a featured spot when people look at the front of the building. And you'll see it because the glass aspect, you'll still see it from the lobby and so forth. The phase two scenarios will almost be a little bit more hidden because of locker rooms. You know, we don't get people into locker rooms as much as we'll have out front. You know, other pieces certainly have been, you know, you look at our softball complex, thanks to the generosity of Leo and Jean Herzog, who made a contribution last year. We have a video board. There's not a lot of schools in the country other than the Power Fives that have video boards for softball, and that added an element. We have a lot of teams that come down here in the early part of the season in February, early March from all over the country. Michigan State, and you know, we've had a lot of big schools from the Big Ten and the Big 12 and so forth. They come down and they're jealous not only of our weather, but they're jealous of our overall complex. And same thing with baseball. We have Ohio State this year. We've had Illinois, Michigan. A number of teams from the Big Ten have come down and they look at our complex for baseball. Same thing with soccer. Our tremendous overall. You got the palm trees in the background, and we have a beautiful field. And now we have like I said earlier, a press box that fits an element of what a Division I product should be. And we've been able to continue to bring in great teams in that regard. So teams that come down and visit, part of what they want to see is quality facilities so they don't feel like, you know, they're not playing in what their student athletes are used to.
David Moulton, along with FGCU Athletic Director Ken Kavanagh. A State of the Eagles every 4 or 6 weeks. The boss will update you on the comings and goings here at FGCU. This has been a remarkable 6 months in terms of the recently former FGCU athletes and some even from a few years ago who have gone professional and or excelled on the national and even international stage. I mean, for a school that's been playing sports for 15 years, you had Olympians this summer.
Yeah, it just is neat, and what we've done for some who've been around our office areas, they've seen in the suites here or over in the outdoor sports complex, we try to give these marquee former Eagles some attention with color pictures, and we had 6 of them. We had 2 softball, Derek Lamley for men's golf, we have Rook for her beach volleyball exploits, plus Cheyenne and Carmen for softball, and then Chris. And there's a 6th one that I'm missing that we've had, Casey Coleman. So those are our 6 that we've had, and we've had them for 5 years or so. And then all of a sudden, boom, we need 5 more this year because of Whitney Knight and with both Richard Blyer and Jacob Barnes with their Major League Baseball debuts, and then the 2 soccer successes with Aaron Guillen and Rodrigo Saravia. So it really has been exciting to see on top of that 2 additional Olympians and Lonnie Cabrera and Eva Leader with swimming representing their countries, and certainly Brooke representing the USA, our first USA Olympian. It really has been a fun summer, and it's been fun to witness individuals not only meet their goals, but to do so and be shared by everybody else.
And obviously you're familiar with these athletes on a first-name basis, but Whitney Knight got taken just outside the first round of the WNBA draft by the LA Sparks, has now signed a very nice deal playing over in Russia after the WNBA season. Soccer, a first-round pick, Rodrigo with the Columbus Crew, went from 2 major leaguers to 4 in one summer with Rocky Blyer with your beloved Yankees. Okay, and Jacob.
Rocky Blyer? You mean Richard Blyer?
I'm sorry, Robert.
That's his football.
Named after, but I'm sorry, Richard Blyer, and who, let me tell you, posted a really nice earned run average. They should have pitched him more. Yep. And Jacob Barnes with the Brewers, who may develop into their closer, or at least their 8th inning guy here very soon. 3 Olympians, including a U.S. Olympian. Really heady stuff, quite frankly. I mean, you've been at bigger schools than FGCU. This would be heady stuff for a school like Bradley, where you came from, who's been playing athletics for 100 years.
Yeah, Bradley, Bowling Green, Yale, places that I've been for. We've never had the numbers that we're producing here. And it really has just been exciting. And there's a number of other athletes that are in the entry levels to the professional ranks. We had another baseball player last year when Jake Knoll was a first-team All-American consensus across the board, and then gets drafted in the 7th round by the Nationals. And we're fortunate to have Nick Rivera coming back. Nick would have been, we believe, another higher draft, but with his injury, he decided early he was going to come back as a preseason first-team All-American last year and a local product. He's looking forward to hopefully get our team to the NCAA tournament for the first time. So we've got more in the pipeline, but yeah, it's just really been exciting.
Yeah, as a Mets fan, I have a feeling that Noel being with the Nats is going to come back and haunt me in recent years. Is it sold out yet? I mean, you know, at the time we're taping this, it's right around Columbus Day. Usually Night at the Nest doesn't make it much longer. What do you got in store for us? Well,
Dr. Ryan, Bob Ryan, has been phenomenal pushing us behind the scenes as he's done. And for those who don't know, and we'll share some information with you, if you would still like to get a table, there's maybe, I think, 80 tables, and we're at the 72 right now. It's here in the arena. It's just been a fun night. People don't recognize the arena when they come because it puts in a whole different format. But we went from raising $32,000 our first year in 2010 to raising $567,000 last year. And every single penny is needed to continue to grow our operation. We still only have 7 of our 15 teams at full scholarship, so we're looking to get all 15 sooner rather than later to that point, but also to develop resources for recruiting and for other elements of our facilities that we haven't talked about today. And that's important, plus to try to maintain compensation to keep our great coaches as long as we can. So the Night at the Nest has been a wonderful friend and fundraiser. Chris Sale's always there, so there's some other VIPs in the audience. We've had Jeff Nelson, whose daughter goes to FGCU, who's a former pitcher for the Yankees when they won the World Series, who's, I believe, now doing play-by or color commentating for the Florida Marlins. Tino Martinez, former great player for the Yankees, participates in it, not the night of.
With the Yankees.
But is involved with Chris is one of the items where we have, you can play 18 holes at Calusa Pines, which I understand is an unbelievable golf course. And so you can play with Chris and with Tino. So there's a lot of neat packages, whether they're vacation spots or whether they're wine packages and so forth. You can go to our website, see what we did last year, and we'll have packages done hopefully in the next couple of weeks that people can see getting ready for December 2nd.
And obviously FGCUathletics.com, and if you don't see the icon, well, wait a little while, you'll be able to find it. It'll appear on the site. We've covered a lot of ground. Now, let's see. The fall teams are doing well. You're knocking stuff down and you're making things bigger and better. You've got all these pros and Olympians, and then you got Night at the Nest. Have we missed anything?
The only thing is we did have the debut just recently of our newest head coach, and Dave Rollins. Neil Stout, who did a wonderful job building our program to national rankings, has left us to go to FSU. And Dave came in. He himself was an All-American at Arizona, and most recently worked with the men's program at Ohio State.
And this is swimming.
Yes, sorry about that, swimming and diving. And we've had a good start with the team. So the swimming diving's already into the pool per se. We had a good meet this past weekend. We were able to dodge the weather with the hurricane, and LSU and Virginia Tech, Ohio State, Utah, Rutgers, we all competed together. It just shows you again the quality of our program, that it's been that those types of teams will come down and participate against us. So we're looking forward to them getting off to another great championship year, and then hopefully having as many as we did last year, which was 3 in the NCAA championships.
Well, and I believe it was 5 or 6 teams that are nationally ranked that were at the swimming meet from the year before. Just want to ask a question. Fans have a lot of inquiries about scheduling. They always want to see the biggest and the best competition that they can. All right, we keep talking about all the success that you're having. Does that make scheduling harder, or can you get to a point actually where you're doing so well? Like your soccer programs were drawing in top 10 schools this year, that they're doing so well that even the elite will go, well, I'll schedule them because it'll look good on the schedule no matter what. I'm wondering, from a scheduling standpoint, is it getting harder, or have you just gotten over the hump where it's getting easier?
It's harder for basketball. Just again, the dollars. It's a lot of teams don't leave home because they make so much money, the bigger schools. But in the other sports, we are becoming a great RPI game for them. So you look at, as you mentioned, for women's soccer, to have North Carolina 21 national champions. We unfortunately didn't get the game in because of lightning, but to have them, Ohio State, Alabama, all at home in the same season in any sport would be great. And they're quality women's soccer teams. But it's because Jim continues to win a lot of games. He made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament last year, and it's looked at as a good game for their kids to get ready for their own season, but also a good game to bring in a good number of wins that we always hit double digits. Men's soccer, we've hosted Georgetown and Akron and Washington. This year we've had Michigan at home. USF, thankfully, is a really good opponent for us right up the road, but to get those teams to come down, it really is a tribute to what our coaches have done. Indiana in volleyball, we knocked them off, which for me was a lot of fun because my twin sons go to IU. But again, what we've got going on, but we are still having some successes. It's really hard on the men's basketball side because we're in the middle of a bunch of teams that nobody wants to touch. So we wind up having to play each other. So a lot of our games are against other mid-majors who are really good teams that nobody else will play. We've seen that in recent years with LaSalle and Louisiana Tech and Ohio University, and this year again with Siena. And we have Georgia State coming in, or Georgia Southern, excuse me. And but then on the women's side, Carl waits long enough, we get Illinois coming next year. So, but as he keeps sending those teams home with losses, it makes it harder and harder. So when you knock off LSU and Michigan State and Indiana, Virginia Tech, Auburn, like Carl has, the phones don't get answered as quickly as they used to.
And having seen it, even though it hasn't been released publicly, I can say going to be an elite baseball and softball schedule coming up. All right, in early 2017, it seems as if from a scheduling standpoint, it has worked out then. So how about we do this about right before Thanksgiving? My guess is the fall seasons will either be wrapping up or have just wrapped up, and the winter seasons will have started.
Yeah, hopefully we'll talk about a few good wins already for the basketball teams on top of that postseason for the fall sports, and we really appreciate it. It's an opportunity. We really wanted to just find a way to reach out more to our fans, to give you guys an opportunity. I think what we'll do as we grow this, maybe we'll create opportunities for you to send in questions. And I think really what this will hopefully be evolve as to what the fans want as much as we sometimes think what they want to hear. So we look forward to it. We really appreciate everybody's support of FGCU Athletics, and God bless and go Eagles.
So we want your feedback. We know we're not very good, so just make it about the teams and the coaches and the athletes. And I'll grill them next time here on State of the Eagles.